Hey everybody, Brian Bauman from Bauman's Farm and Garden, and I'm really excited because all of our perennials are just getting ready to bloom out in the nursery, and there's so many. In fact, I came out here, I told Jessica, I'm like, okay, let's do like our top 5 pick of perennials right now on the farm, and I ended up with 7. I couldn't help myself. There's so many cool plants right now coming out, and a lot of perennials that are just starting, and that's kind of what I want to talk to you about first. So let's talk about this. This is digitalis. It is, take a look at the flower color. So pretty, blossoms. This one is just starting to bloom right now, and very hardy, very easy to take care of, gives you that kind of real kind of cottage garden feel to it. This variety is just beautiful. And actually the crop, Jessica, if you can kind of show everybody, this is kind of what the crop looks like right now. And this is actually the perfect time when you're at the nursery to pick up perennials. The flower spike is just coming off the center of this right now. And really, especially with this digitalis, you're gonna get a nice big center bloom. You're gonna get some smaller blooms after that throughout the summer, but its show is just about to put on. And I hate waiting to buy perennials until they're in full bloom at the garden center because you really missed out for the year. You gotta wait till next year. So by purchasing them at this stage, you're going to really enjoy it for the summertime. This variety is really nice and hardy. I think it's down to around 5A, 5B, which even Eastern Oregon, Central Oregon, this would be just fine. Come back each year for you. With a lot of perennials, I think it's really important. It's not always the cold temperatures that get them, especially in the Northwest, it's the wet. So when you are planting them in the garden, I try and plant the soil level to here maybe, right kind of mid-level, and then that way I'll add some soil around the outside. That way the top crown of the plant is still above the soil line and the water kind of runs away. I mean, the hole will be this deep, I'll fill it with topsoil around the outside. That way, the water kind of runs away and the plant usually does so much better during the winter time. There's a lot of different varieties of lavender available. This is the Spanish variety. You can tell by the little bumblebee flowers. This particular one is called Lavender Primavera. It is probably the deepest purple I've ever seen. It has an extra large flower to it, and one of the things that really makes this particular variety stand out is its heat tolerance. This variety will bloom all summer long. A lot of Spanish varieties will bloom really well in the springtime, really well in the fall again, but they just kind of stop in the summertime. This variety keeps going. It's not quite as hardy. A lot of the Spanish varieties, even in the Northwest, I'm in zone 7 right here, don't always make it. This variety is a true zone 7. It's gonna come back. Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington, Mountain States is probably not the best variety. You can grow it as an annual. It blooms all summer, which is great. But in Western Oregon, this will come back each year. Again, you want to kind of mound it up so the water runs away. It's such a beautiful variety. Blooms all summer. The bees love it. The butterflies love it. Great for your pollinator gardens. It's a really good variety of lavender. Agastache, however you want to say it. This to me is one of, you just need to have this in a pollinator garden. So many pollinators love it, from butterflies to bees to hummingbirds, those long thick throats. In fact, this is a newer variety. It's new for us this year. It's called Sunrise Red. And if you can see, it just has a beautiful color to it. You'll see Agastache in yellow, oranges, but this red you don't see a lot. One of the things I wanted to show you out here, we go through a lot of times, and you'll see this with a lot of perennials. You'll send out a main stalk that kind of comes up first. I always try and go through and pinch that out, because that's really going to get it to fill out a little bit more, and you're going to get a lot more blooms. It may delay the bloom time a little bit, but you're going to end up with a much fuller plant that's going to go a lot longer throughout the summer with more blooms. So don't be surprised if you see it like this in the garden center. That's always a great way to get it to fill out. But this variety, same kind of thing. You want to mound it up so the water runs away. But this is really hardy. This one goes down to, I think, zone 5. Again, Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington, this is going to be just fine, like minus 20 degrees. Really good at coming back each year for you. Beautiful color. it gives you everything that you want out of, and I think this would work really good in a container garden as well as in the ground. Really nice variety. Echinacea, there's lots of different echinaceas. I find certain varieties come back better than others. Certain varieties are going to be more compact and bloom longer for you, and that's one of the reasons why I grabbed this one. This is a variety from Proven Winners. It's called The Fuchsia is Bright. Kind of a fun play on words for the name. It is just starting to bloom. I'll have Jessica throw up a picture of it in full bloom because the flower color is exceptional. Really pretty, kind of pink purple, what I think of as kind of a traditional echinacea bloom. But you can see this variety is really nice and tight and compact. In the nursery world, they can put what they call growth regulators, which will reduce, to make the plant more compact and bloom better. But to me, I try not to do any of that on our perennials because I want you to see what it's actually going to look like in your garden. And this variety is just loaded with buds all the way around it. We haven't done anything to keep it more compact. So you know when you get home, you're going to end up with a plant that's going to be just loaded with buds. Bloom all summer. Those bees are going to love it. Great plant to add to your perennial gardens. This was new last year. Look at this. I know it's not very showy right now, but this is a delphinium. It's called Red Lark. Again, I'll have Jessica throw up a picture of it because the coral red flowers on this are amazing. Like, blow your socks off. So cool. This is a variety you need to have. Some varieties you can grow from seed. A lot of delphiniums are grown from seed. The thing about growing a perennial from seed is you get variation. It's just like a child, right? You have it gets pollinated. There's two different flowers coming together, and they're not always the same every time. This variety is grown from tissue culture. And what that means is they take specific cells as the plant is just starting to develop, and they take them and they divide them in a lab. And that means that they are all genetically identical, which means that every one of these you buy is going to be the exact same color of the other ones that you purchased. You don't always see that in seed varieties, but this particular one, because it's from tissue culture, is very cool, and that color is always so unique. A lot of times with delphiniums, they'll send out that first center bloom. When that is done blooming, you want to kind of pinch that off, because what happens then is the flower then starts to send out all the additional spikes coming off the side. You'll end up with a lot better, a lot longer flower time for your delphinium, and it'll just keep blooming all summer long that way. Shasta daisies are just that prairie garden, cottage garden feel. This particular one is called White Mountain. It's a really great variety in that it gives you kind of that traditional flower with the white, with the yellow center. It's a little more compact. It's not going to get super tall, 18 to 24 inches, which I think makes it very manageable in a lot of people's gardens. You can grow this in a container or in the flower bed, and it is going to bloom all summer long. Non-stop, just keep shooting up buds. I do find that it looks a little better if you deadhead it every so often, but you don't need to in order to keep it blooming. It really just keeps going all summer just the way it is, which for me, I'm a busy guy. I've got a lot of things to do. I just don't have time to deadhead all the time. This variety is just really amazing. Veronica. The thing I think I love so much about Veronica is that the blooms start kind of at the base of the flower, and then as it grows up the flower stem, you'll see it's almost kind of like lime green at the top. So you get that blue and lime green. You get that two-tone effect, which I think is so pretty. It's so unusual, really great. This particular one is called Skyward Blue. A lot of perennials, especially in the Northwest, we get wet mornings all the time. Whether it's dew, which causes mildew, which is where I'm going with this. Mildew is that kind of powdery white stuff you see on the leaves, and it will just destroy the plant. It's a fungus. This particular variety is very mildew resistant. So I find that it holds up really well in the Northwest. It blooms for a very long time. You can see the center spike is coming up. Again, you can kind of pinch it off, but it already has all these other flower spikes starting to come up, and those are just going to keep blooming all summer long. and look amazing. We also carry this in pink. Both of them really great, long-lasting flowers that are going to give you just amazing flowers all summer long. These are just a few of my favorite perennials. There's so many that are just starting to come out on the farm right now. So give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and follow along, because there is a whole summer of amazing plants coming your way.